Thank you, sister.
You're welcome.
I'm not going to mess up this time, but I have to make one proviso. Since you are an imam and a politician, I'm going to call up Imam Councilman Mustafa Brent. First mistake.
Give him a mic.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. I'm not going to be long-winded today. I thank Brother Jimmy and the conveners of this conference for inviting me just to greet you all in the greeting of peace, and also just to, kind of, dovetail on some of the important issues that were mentioned earlier. But, the brother touched on some serious, poignant issues that affect our community. But there's a couple key points that I want to speak on briefly. Number one, one of the main reasons that I recognize in my short term as being an elected official and an appointed official is to recognize within our community we don't really necessarily have a voice and an opportunity to articulate our own narrative because of the reality of us not pursuing those endeavors that are going to make our agenda more relevant and more vocal in the chambers in which the decisions are made. And the reality of that is, if you go in reverse, is that we have not yet established an agenda, right? What is our ask? Every single individual or ethnicity, before they get appointed or elected to a position and they galvanize their economics, they have an agenda. We always support elected officials and not the Muslim ones. And I have to be honest with you, not the ones that are in the masjid with us, praying next to us, not the ones that, are responsible for the education of our children. We like to, associate or, work with those politicians that are popular, right? Because a lot of times that's the history and the makeup of where we come from, right? But the first thing that we have to work on is establishing an agenda. What is our ask, right? Whenever you say agenda, people be like, oh man, we Muslims, we're not supposed to have a hidden agenda. I'm not talking about a hidden agenda. I'm talking about an upfront, in-your-face agenda. These issues that he addressed are the issues that are representative of the majority of the Islamic population in this community, in this nation, because majority of the Islamic community resides within the inner cities, right? Those people that come from foreign lands didn't come here and get on a white horse and travel up to the suburbs. Majority of them, 99% of them, moved into the inner city where it was cheaper to live, established themselves, got educated, and then moved out.
That's right.
And we're not mad at that. That's fine. We embrace that. But what we're saying is now is an opportunity for us to begin to write our own narrative, to be unapologetic for the things that Allah blesses us to be. Muslim, American, of African descent, right? Or you can say an African American Muslim in America, right? And that's what I educate my children, right? And that's important because we can't get away from this.
That's
right? We accepted Islam by choice, right? By decision. And that decision is very definite in design and the direction in which we need to go. And so outside of this room and this auditorium, there's only maybe 2 or 3 people that I've never seen before in this room I haven't had the privilege of interacting with. And that's an issue, right? And so outside of establishing an agenda, we have to begin to, by design and direct intent, to create a platform by which we establish transitional leadership, right? There's no, a retirement plan for a lot of the leaders in our community. They just languish on until you get a notice in the mail that so-and-so passed away. And they've been an imam for 40 years. Or they've been sitting on the council for 20 years. And a lot of times they have a lot of push and a lot of drive and a lot of vigor. But, if you want to look at it from a theological standpoint in Islam historically, the movement was ran by young people. Majority of the prominent ashab were younger than the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ before he received revelation. And so why is that important? Because Islam takes the wisdom of the old and the energy of the young and espouses it together and put forth an agenda to make sure that truth and justice and servant leadership prevails. And so the presence and the instance of that is, and I'm going to end with this, Sheikh, Don't walk up on me like that, man. From Newark.
You gotta go back to school.
You know, I live in East Orange, man, but I grew up on the south side of Newark. You walk up on me wrong, man. Oh, right? So, and I'm going to end with this. We have to be self-promoting.
Yes.
Until we become self-promoting, we are not going to get the things, not that we want, but the things that are rightfully ours.
That's right.
It's a book written by Ibn Taymiyyah, right? The book is called Siyasa Shar'i, right? And is linguistically translated as trickery or like, you know, like how to maneuver, but it's understood as diplomacy. And the first chapter in the book is Ada'ul Amana, giving the right back to the person who it belongs to. And so when you guys marched in the streets, although you didn't have what people consider nowadays, after knowledge has come to us, a more definite understanding of what the Aqidah was, you established that legacy. And so you have a right, and your children have a right. And so when we talk about education and board policies and the processes that go in line with that, we need to have Sister Dawn on the front line as our representative, right? Because the youngest and the first African-American Muslim female to serve on the largest board of education in the state of New Jersey, and one of the largest in the nation, right? We don't have that reference point because we're not thinking on that level. And through her position, this is not some trickery or behind the back doors, and I'm going to close, brother, give me 1 second, right? This is how you create generational wealth. Did you hear what she said?
That's right.
She is in charge of a $1.3 billion budget. And so when those contracts come before her board for maintenance, for food, for books, there should be some category of references within our community. Not some austere person or, you know, institution or, you know, whatever that we can have to reach out to, but within our community that she can reach out to. And that goes to networking. As somebody who's in East Orange, right? When we talk about before anybody knew who Governor Murphy was, he was calling me on my personal phone at my house saying congratulations and having intimate conversations. But when he got elected, it was people that looked like us that said, "No, that brother too radical. He got too many words," right? And so we have to be. There's another group coming in. Let them wait.
Thank you, brother. That's what
I'm going to end in this, man. I appreciate you guys giving me an opportunity to speak. Inshallah, my information is open and free. Anybody can contact me at any time.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Let's give a brother a hand.